Something new has entered our solar system. It didn't announce itself with fire or noise. It didn't flare or collide. It simply appeared, moving with quiet precision through the dark, fast, deliberate, and beyond comprehension. At first, astronomers thought it was just another comet, a frozen wanderer from the edges of deep space, a remnant of creation passing unnoticed among the stars. But within days, it became clear, this was not ordinary. Its movement broke the patterns of gravity. Its velocity defied every known rule of celestial mechanics. It was behaving like nothing we had ever seen. Soon, the object was given a name, 3I Atlas, a title drawn from the telescope array that first detected it and from the strange, triple-lobed reflection that shimmered across its surface. But what began as an astronomical curiosity quickly turned into a mystery that unsettled the world's most brilliant minds. Because what scientists found was not just strange, it was impossible. A visitor from beyond. When 3I Atlas was first logged by the Atlas Survey Network, a system built to detect incoming asteroids that could threaten Earth, it appeared distant, faint, and fast-moving. Too fast. In fact, it was moving at more than 150,000 miles per hour, a speed inconsistent with any gravitational slingshot in our solar system. An amateur researcher reviewing archived data noticed something no one else had. The object wasn't new. It had been here before, caught faintly in older telescope images, always moving along a hyperbolic path, the unmistakable signature of something not bound to the sun. Only two such interstellar visitors had ever been recorded, Oumuamua in 2017, and 2I, Borisov in 2019. Both came and went within weeks. But 3I Atlas was different. It was faster. It was brighter. And it was accelerating, not because of the sun's pull, but because of something within itself. Non-gravitational acceleration. That phrase alone sent shockwaves through astrophysics. It meant the object might be propelling itself. Not drifting, but navigating. An artificial possibility. Harvard physicist Avi Loeb once suggested that Oumuamua might have been artificial, perhaps a fragment of alien technology. Now, with 3I Atlas showing even stronger evidence of propulsion and control, that theory has resurfaced, only this time, with far more data to back it. Unlike its predecessors, 3I Atlas lingered. It slowed as it approached, allowing days of continuous observation. And what telescopes saw was deeply unsettling. Despite being billions of miles from the sun, the object gleamed brighter than any comet of similar size. Its reflectivity, known as albedo, was unnaturally high, as though made of smooth, metallic material. No known asteroid or comet could shine like that. And while normal comets tumble unpredictably, 3I Atlas moved with balance, rotating in a steady, intentional rhythm. This was not random motion. It was precision. The Webb revelation. When the James Webb Space Telescope turned its infrared eyes toward it, the data stunned everyone. The object emitted no expected heat signature. Its temperature barely changed, even as it neared the sun. Entire bands of infrared light, the chemical fingerprints of dust, gas, and ice, were missing. It was as if something on or within the object was absorbing or masking radiation. Then, something even stranger appeared. A faint series of repeating pulses, not in visible light, but in the radio spectrum. They weren't regular like a beacon, nor random like static. They formed patterns. Repeating intervals. Ratios. Prime numbers. Even sequences matching Fibonacci patterns and human time units, seconds and minutes. Researchers in Japan, France, and Prague confirmed the same result. One physicist noted that some intervals matched Jupiter's moon resonances, gravitational rhythms unique to our solar system. That meant one thing. Whoever made this object, or whatever programmed it, had studied our star system before. At first, 3i Atlas seemed like any other interstellar traveler, a silent wanderer passing through our solar system. But then, astronomers noticed something extraordinary. It changed course. Originally, it was on a clear outbound trajectory, heading toward the outer planets, cold, distant, and unremarkable. Then, without any visible cause, its motion shifted ever so slightly. The curve of its path bent inward, toward the inner solar system. Toward the sun. The maneuver was subtle, almost elegant. No jets of gas. No bursts of propulsion. No visible debris or cometary tail. And yet, the alteration was deliberate, precise to within fractions of a degree. Natural objects don't do that. Not on their own. By mid-October 2025, projections placed 3i Atlas near the orbit of Mars. Weeks later, it would pass near Earth's path, not to collide, but to glide silently through the neighborhood of our world, as if observing. Infrared images from the James Webb Space Telescope showed strange, flickering reflections across its surface, patterns that shifted as though thin panels were reorienting themselves. Some scientists began to suspect that these weren't reflections at all, but controlled movements, light sails adjusting angle to capture solar radiation. If that were true, then 3i Atlas needed no engines. The sun itself was its fuel source. And then, the data stopped. Tracking sites went offline without explanation. Observatories that had been sharing coordinates and images suddenly went quiet. Public databases were locked behind restricted access. Even independent astronomers, the ones who had been posting their findings online, began deleting their accounts. Entire discussion threads vanished overnight. When journalists asked officials for comment, the response was short and chilling: "No comment at this time." But one anonymous scientist broke the silence, in a single leaked email that spread like wildfire across the scientific community. "It doesn't feel like secrecy," the message read. "It feels like containment." The silence and the signal. Days later, communication resumed. 3i Atlas was still there, exactly where it was expected to be. Still moving. Still silent. But its radio emission, the faint, rhythmic pulse that had fascinated researchers for weeks, was gone. No new data. No variation. Only static. Yet within that silence, something remained. Buried deep in the final transmission was a sequence no one could fully explain, a geometric pulse pattern, encoded in ratios rather than frequencies. When scientists translated those ratios into three-dimensional models, they didn't get noise. They got structure. Symmetry. Something resembling a framework, or a map. Was it random? Or intentional? Theories multiplied. Some physicists believed it represented a kind of architectural key, a design embedded within the transmission itself, like a set of blueprints written in energy rather than ink. Others noticed something even stranger. The frequency distribution in the data resembled molecular harmonics, the same vibrational signatures used in biology to identify amino acids. Among them was one pattern that matched glycine, one of the simplest and most ancient building blocks of life. If the signal was deliberate, then it wasn't just broadcasting, it was communicating in a universal language, chemistry. Artificial intelligence systems used to analyze the data began behaving unpredictably. Recursive algorithms fed back into themselves, generating symbol chains, a kind of proto-language that grew more complex with each cycle. It was as if the signal was learning from its own reflection, as if something on the other end was responding. That possibility changed everything. If true, 3i Atlas wasn't just transmitting, it was listening. And then, complete silence. No acceleration. No rotation. No thermal variation. Just motion, calm, steady, deliberate. The last transmission weeks later, a faint echo appeared in the telemetry of an old deep space probe drifting near the Kuiper belt. It wasn't a full signal, just a residual imprint, like the fading afterglow of a transmission long finished. But hidden within that echo was one last image. A dim outline against the stars. Angular. Symmetrical. Structured. It wasn't natural. The revelation reignited debate across the world. Was 3I Atlas a probe? A message? Or something far older, an observer left behind by an intelligence that once studied worlds like ours? Some scientists proposed a haunting interpretation. It wasn't here to talk. It was here to test. A silent examination of our species, our science, our curiosity, our fear. Perhaps it was never meant to interact with us directly. Perhaps its purpose was simply to measure our reaction. It didn't come to speak. It came to see. And now, as it drifts steadily beyond the orbit of Earth, its presence lingers like an unanswered question. Its data remains encrypted, its signal dormant, its message, if it ever was one, still waiting to be understood. What if the transmission was never meant for our satellites or computers, but for minds, for consciousness, for beings capable of wonder? If that's true,